With corn and cattle prices low, we know now is the time to think about financial planning for the future. Marilyn Barnett has our Grow interview.
A lot of people have been a little nervous lately here, but numbers you're going to show us here might make us feel a little better.
It's been an interesting year. We've been up and down the last 10 months or so, and down 12% or so. But the last week or so, we've in our last 2 or 3 weeks, we've done fairly well. To the end of June, the Dow, which is 30 industrial large, we typically watch, up 4.45. Through the end of last night is up 7.1. We've had a good run the last 30 days.
Yeah.
In short, a lot of these indexes that we watch are up this year. The small cap, the mid cap funds, typically up. They've trended over what we've typically seen over the last 3 to 5 years, with the blue chip stocks doing fairly well. The more aggressive, the more risky, but returning more up in the, some of these returns have been, the small cap NASDAQ averaged 14.9% on average for the indexes. The exception may be the overseas funds. They typically have done a little better the last 5 years. They've been less than that, 1 to 2% or so. Maybe time to get into the overseas funds. Lastly, the bonds have done much what we expect them to do, 2 to 3 to 5% or so. Very, very typical what we're looking at doing. So it's been a good run. The last 4 weeks has been excellent.
So really, when you think about it, because the news jumps on it when it's all negative, but really in the long run, when you look at the numbers, you can feel a little bit better.
I have seen that. We talk about that. The negative stuff sells, but the positive stuff I haven't heard much about.
Right.
And we always talk about allocation
right.
too. And one of the things that we do believe in, and this is a typical example of what we recommend. If you'd have been allocated the last several years or so, you'd have done fairly well. One thing, a tip of the morning might be a lot of these 401k plans, simples, mutual funds, insurance companies have allocation funds. They do this for you, and or target date funds. I recommend clients, participants, investors look at these. They do this for you. Most likely you're not going to beat the pros.
Right.
And so those have done fairly well. I'm looking at a lot of my clients, we're looking at moving some of these things. They do extremely well.
Drought conditions are worsening. We'll have a look at the drought monitor up next. Still to come, a visit with our egg analyst.